before I do that, actually, I'd like Alia to talk about the genesis of her book and how she came about to writing it. And what is in the book. Give us some insight on what can we expect to find when we read the book. Alia?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. It's lovely to see you all today. This is actually very special for me because it's my first time in Delhi, and I really like India, and I've never been to Delhi, so it was on my checklist, so now I can easily check it, so it's very exciting. Thank you to the panelists and all the attendants for coming today. The story behind the book, first of all, I actually never wanted to be a nutritionist. I have to be frank from the beginning. I didn't even know the field existed when I was younger. I went to college and did marketing and public relations, and then I did my master's in marketing, thinking that this is where I want to go. And then at some point in my life, I was feeling ill. I didn't feel very well. And I went from one doctor to the other, and they were all giving me answers that I was not happy with. I still was not feeling right, and they all kept telling me to go home and you're fine, and I wasn't happy with that answer. So I started Googling, as one does, Google University as I call it, and I discovered answers that none of the doctors gave me, and I started implementing on myself, and I realized I was starting to feel better. So I fell in love with the subject, and I started feeling much better health-wise, and I had to make the very difficult decision of deciding whether to stay in PR or to continue to change careers completely and to start over as a nutritionist. Thankfully, as you might have guessed, I took the second option, and it was a very difficult decision in the beginning, but I made the decision to change because I saw how much nutrition affected me, and I really wanted to bring that to the Middle East. So I decided to qualify, and after I finished my qualification, I thought I was ready to heal the world. And I had all kinds of handouts and notes to give people to make them feel better. And one of the handouts I had was for mothers. And I thought, you know, why are all the mothers complaining about their children not being healthy? It's simple. Here's the theory. This is exactly what it says. So I wrote the handout, made it all flowery and very readable for the mothers. And then a few years later, I had kids. And I realized none of it works. And none of it really applies. It's all theory, and it's one thing to have the theory and another to actually get a child to eat it, because they have their own minds, their own likes, and their own dislikes. And I used my children as guinea pigs, all very nicely, of course, and I started experimenting with them, and I realized that feeding them also requires a lot more than just feeding them. I became not just their mother, I became also the marketing agent of the food that I wanted them to eat. So I was spending my whole day trying to find creative ways of getting them to eat it. And in the process, we discovered some interesting things. I made a lot of mistakes, of course. But in the end, I put it all together, and this is what became I Want Healthy Kids, the book. So it's basically a combination of all my tried and tested efforts. The ones that worked, the ones that didn't work, I have another bin for them. And the book came out in the Middle East a few years ago, and it was a big success, and then it was translated into Arabic, and now it's selling as an Arabic version in the Middle East. Luckily today, we are here today launching the Indian version. So hopefully this book will make a difference. I'm trying to influence the influencers. So not trying to influence the children as much as I'm trying to influence their parents. I'll give you an example. I was in the office once, and a man came to me in the office, very desperate, and he said, I have a very big problem. I said, what is it? He said, my 3-year-old is addicted to junk food. Every single day he wants junk food, and if he doesn't get it, he'll throw a tantrum, he'll kick, and he'll fuss until he gets it. So I said, oh, so he drives himself to the junk food restaurant? He said, no, I take it. Okay, so he has money to actually pay for the burgers that you're buying him? No, I buy them for him. And you can see that his body language changed completely. And I said, I don't think we need to speak about the kid. I think we need to speak about you. And that's when it made sense to him. And I think a lot of the issues are related to the parents, and we need to speak to the parents, and we need to speak loudly to the parents, but also help them out, because being parents, we also know that it's very difficult. It's one thing to know what to do and one thing to actually implement it, but there is a lot of hope. I was in my son's school a few weeks ago for Health Day in April, and they wanted me to come to speak to the 10-year-olds. And I thought, what am I going to tell 10-year-olds? You know, they're completely going to block me out, and how do I speak to them? So I decided to give them an example. And I said, imagine you're aliens. And imagine the ruler of your planet tells you, go to Earth and get superpower.